Stop being a victim of the seasonal plant cycle. Most of what you see at garden centers right now is designed to be dead by August. They sell you high-maintenance annuals because your failure is their recurring revenue. It's time to stop working for your garden and make your garden work for you. I'm showing you 10 lazy perennials that are virtually immortal in containers. These plants don't just survive neglect, they demand it. We're talking about a set-it-and-forget-it lifestyle that saves your money, your time, and your sanity. Pay close attention to number 7. It's the ultimate cheat code for a luxury patio look without the luxury price tag or the 5 a.m. watering schedule. Before you keep watching, comment your state. If you ignore your USDA zone, you might pick the wrong plants from the start. I'll be pointing out the right zones as we go watch for yours. 1. Sedum. If you're the type of person who constantly forgets to water, sedum is about to be your new best friend. Think of this plant like a camel. Each leaf is a tiny water tank that stores everything it needs to survive. While other plants are shriveling up after a long weekend, sedum is chilling. There are documented cases of these guys going 6 to 8 weeks without a drop of water and looking perfectly fine. The pro tip here is actually to be a little mean to it. Most people think more fertilizer equals a better plant, but with sedum, that's a lie. If the soil is too rich, it gets tall, floppy, and ugly. Keep the soil lean, a bit poor, and stop fertilizing it entirely. It will reward your neglect with a tighter shape and much more vibrant colors. For varieties, Autumn Fire is a beast. It stands tall in pots and turns a beautiful copper pink from September to November. If you want something that spills over the edges, go for Dragon's Blood. Its leaves turn a deep, vivid red when the weather cools down. Whether you're in the freezing Midwest or the humid South zones 3 to 9, this plant is a survivor. Just soak it once when you plant it, then basically ignore it. Your only job is to sit back and watch the colors change. 2. Lavender. Most people kill lavender because they treat it like a regular houseplant. They give it rich soil and keep it damp, which is basically a death sentence. Lavender evolved on rocky, dry Mediterranean hillsides, where the soil is terrible and the water is scarce. If you want it to survive in a container, you have to recreate that harsh environment. The secret fix: don't use straight potting soil. Mix it with 1/3 gravel or perlite to make sure the water zooms right through. And please throw away the saucer under the pot. Lavender hates wet feet more than anything. If you're in a colder spot like the North or Midwest zones, 5 to 7 go with Hidcote. It's a deep purple classic that handles freezes like a champ. If you're down south or on the Gulf Coast dealing with soul-crushing humidity zones 8 to 9, Phenomenal is the only variety that won't melt by July. Here's the best part: stop fertilizing it. Hunger actually makes lavender smell better because the plant concentrates its essential oils when it's stressed. Put a pot right next to your outdoor chair. When you walk by, just brush your hand against the leaves to release that spa-like scent. It smells amazing to you, but mosquitoes absolutely hate it. You're getting a natural bug repellent and a stress reliever for the price of a small pot and some total neglect. Stop wasting money on plants that die. Subscribe to join our community of lazy gardeners and grow a sanctuary that thrives on neglect. 3. Russian Sage. I used to think a designer garden required endless pruning until I met Russian Sage. Most flowers are like house guests who stay for a week and leave. This plant stays for 4 months, brings its own vibe, and never asks for a thing. From July through October, it's a stunning cloud of hazy blue thriving, while other plants melt in the summer heat. Whether you're facing northern freezes or southern oven heat zones 4 to 9, this plant is bulletproof. The best part, it actually prefers life in a pot. In open soil, it can get drunk and floppy, but a container keeps it standing tall and elegant. It's a natural rebel deer won't touch it, and its aromatic foliage keeps bugs at bay. My favorite lazy win happened last February. It took exactly 30 seconds to snip the stems down to 6 inches, and that was my only chore for the year. In return, it returns fuller every spring. Even in winter, the silvery white stems look like modern art against the snow. It's the ultimate choice for anyone who wants a high-end patio look, but would rather spend their weekend relaxing with a cold drink than sweating with garden shears. 4. Hens and Chicks. This is the only plant that acts like a biological cloning machine, expanding your garden for free while you sleep. The mother plant, known as the hen, spends her entire life pushing out dozens of tiny chicks around her base. Each one is a fully independent plant, ready to take over. You can literally snap a chick off with your fingers, toss it into a bit of soil, and walk away. It's an infinite loop of free plants that requires zero effort from you. The survival stats are even more insane. These plants evolved in the brutal rocky cracks of the Swiss Alps, meaning they are engineered to handle scorching summer heat and bitter sub-zero winters, zones 3 to 8. They have survived high-altitude exposure for thousands of years. Your patio is basically a luxury resort to them. In fact, the only way to kill them is to be too nice. If you water them like a normal plant, they'll rot. They thrive on being ignored. Because their roots are so shallow, you can get creative. They'll thrive in containers just 4 inches deep, from old boots to stone bowls. For a true conversation starter, look for the cobweb variety, which looks like it's been delicately wrapped in silver spider silk or red beauty, which shifts from green to deep burgundy as the weather cools. They don't just fill a pot, they colonize it. 5. Catmint. If you are still buying petunias every spring, you are trapped in a cycle of wasted work. Catmint. Walker's Low is the ultimate set-it-and-forget-it replacement. While petunias demand constant deadheading, weekly fertilizing, and a total replacement every year, catmint delivers massive clouds of lavender blue flowers for 6 months straight. From May through October, this plant works overtime while you relax. It is a fortress of a plant thriving across zones 3 through 8. It handles freezing winters and summer droughts like a pro. In the hotter South Zone 9, just give it some afternoon shade to keep it vibrant. Its naturally pest-resistant deer won't touch it, and its herbal scent actually deters biting insects while attracting butterflies. The only maintenance required is a quick haircut in July. When the first flowers fade, shear the plant back by half. It will look bare for about 10 days, then explode with a second flush of blooms even thicker than the first. You get 2 seasons of color for the price of 1 perennial that returns stronger every year. It's the smartest way to get maximum curb appeal with 0 daily chores. Stick around, because we're about to hit plant number 7, the one plant that looks so expensive and high-end, your neighbors will swear you hired a professional landscaper to style your patio. 6. Hosta. Most people think hostas belong in the ground, but they are actually more beautiful in containers. Why? Because putting them in a pot solves their 2 biggest problems: slugs and drainage. Slugs are the primary enemy of hostas, but they struggle to climb up into pots. Plus, while hostas often rot in soggy garden soil, a well-draining container mix keeps them thriving for decades. Sum and substance is the undisputed heavyweight champion here. It produces massive 18-inch chartreuse leaves that look like they're glowing from the inside. If you want a different vibe, try Halcyon for its stunning powder blue foliage, or Patriot for deep green leaves with crisp hand-painted white edges. These are incredibly hardy, surviving from the freezing winters of the north down to the humid south zones, 3 to 9. In the coldest areas, you just slide the pot into a garage or against a wall for the winter. In the south, just keep them out of the afternoon sun. I have container hostas that are 12 years old. They just keep getting bigger, and every few years I divide them into 2 or 3 free plants. It's the kind of math every lazy gardener loves. 7. Coral bells. This is the plant I've been teasing because it is the ultimate cheat code for a luxury patio. While most people wait months for flowers to bloom, Coral Bell's heuchera gives you high-end color from the second you plant it. We aren't just talking about green. These come in shades of deep burgundy, electric lime, metallic silver, and even warm caramel. It's like having a professional interior designer choose a color palette for your outdoor space. The best part: that color is permanent. In zones 7 through 9, these are often evergreen, meaning your pots look stunning even in the middle of January. In colder spots, zones 4 to 6, they are incredibly cold-hardy, bouncing back the moment the snow melts. For a dramatic look, try Palace Purple. Its leaves are so dark they look almost black. If you have a dark, shady corner that needs lighting up, Lime Ricky acts like a neon sign of vibrant chartreuse. The lazy secret to success is all about placement. Most people stick these in deep shade and wonder why the colors look dull. If you move your pot to a spot that gets a few hours of gentle morning sun, the foliage will glow and become twice as intense within 2 weeks. No fertilizer, no complicated pruning, just move the pot and watch the magic happen. 8. Astilbe. When people see Astilbe in full bloom, they automatically assume you're a master gardener with way too much time on your hands. It produces tall, feathery plumes that look like they belong in a high-end wedding bouquet. But here's the secret. Astilbe is a total fraud. It looks high maintenance, but in a container it's actually far easier to grow than in the ground. In a garden bed, Astilbe is a slave to the soil. If the ground dries out for a day, the plant crisps up. But in a pot, you have total control over the moisture. That control results in bigger plumes and longer bloom seasons than your neighbors will ever see. For a sophisticated look, Bridal Veil produces pure white plumes that glow in the shade, while Fanal offers deep red flowers against dark bronze leaves for maximum drama. These are bulletproof in zones 3 through 8. They love the cold and return every spring with even more flowering stems. Just give them morning sun and consistent water, and they'll reward you with florist-quality beauty. Even after the color fades, keep the spent plumes. They transition into a beautiful russet brown that keeps your containers looking designed well into November. 9. Japanese Painted Fern. This plant is the reason people will stop walking past your porch to ask, "Is that even real?" The Japanese painted fern looks like a professional artist spent hours painting every single frond by hand with shades of metallic silver burgundy and soft lavender. It adds a luminous, high-end glow to shady corners that no other plant can replicate. While most ferns look like something you'd find in a swamp, this variety looks like it belongs in a designer gallery. The best part, it's just as tough as its common green cousins. It's fully hardy in zones 3 through 8, meaning it can handle brutal winters and come back even more vibrant in the spring. For the most dramatic look, try Ghost. It's nearly pure silver and looks almost radioactive in deep shade. The lazy trick to keeping this masterpiece alive is all about the winter cleanup. Don't cut it back in the fall. Leave the old dead fronds standing through the winter. They act as a natural blanket that protects the base of the plant from freezing solid. Once you see fresh green and silver poking through in early spring, that's your cue to snip away the old stuff. It's a 60-second chore that guarantees a show-stopping display every single year. 10. Bergenia. If you think your containers have to look like a graveyard from November to March, you haven't met Bergenia. This is the plant that proves lazy gardening doesn't mean a boring winter. While every other perennial is shriveling up and going dormant, Bergenia is just getting its second wind. As soon as the first frost hits its thick, glossy leaves, transform from emerald green to a stunning, deep burgundy red that glows against the snow. But the real shock factor happens in late winter. While your neighbors are still staring at empty pots, Bergenia is already pumping out clusters of vibrant pink flowers often, while there's still ice on the ground. It's the ultimate first responder of the garden world. It is bulletproof in zones 3 through 8, surviving sub-zero temperatures and bone-dry soil without breaking a sweat. The beauty of this plant is its absolute independence. I have Bergenia pots that haven't seen fertilizer in years and only get water when I happen to walk by with a hose. It doesn't need pruning, it doesn't need dividing, and it thrives on being ignored. If you want a porch that looks designed all 12 months of the year, especially during those bleak weeks of January when everything else is brown, this is the warrior you need. Gardening shouldn't be a second job. It should be your sanctuary. By switching from high-maintenance annuals to these 10 lazy perennials, you're not just saving money bypassing that endless buy-and-die cycle you're reclaiming your weekends. These plants are the heavy lifters that grow more beautiful while you relax. Whether you start with the bulletproof sedum or the designer favorite coral bells, you're building a container garden that thrives on your neglect and rewards you with year-round beauty. Before you head to the garden center, I want to hear from you. Please comment your state. If you ignore your USDA climate zone, you might choose the wrong type of tree right from the start. I will point out suitable climate zones throughout the process. Pay attention to your climate zone. Let's stop working for our gardens and finally make our gardens work for us. See you in the next one.